everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040, and welcome to the first edition of a brand new review series where I'm going to be talking about Legends of Tomorrow Season 7. And today I'm going to be talking about the Season 7 premiere, Episode 1, The Bullet Blondes, which I've just finished watching. And this episode had a couple of ups and downs, but by and large, I thought this was pretty decent. And this episode picked up where we left off at the end of the season 6 finale, which saw a Wave Rider appear in 1925 and blow up the Legends' current Wave Rider into 1,000 pieces, leaving all of the Legends stranded in 1925. And also, we saw at the end of season 6, we saw Mick Rory walk away from the Legends to focus on being a father to his daughter. And we also saw John Constantine disappear, never to be seen or heard of again. So this episode picks up where we left off at the end of season 6. And as I said, had its share of ups and downs, but by and large, I thought this was pretty decent. And the ending was quite surprising, but at the same time, we've kind of seen things like this before, but this looks like it's going to become an ongoing thing, which I'm going to get into in a moment. So, with that all said, let's get straight into it. Let's talk about the season premiere of Legends of Tomorrow Season 7, Episode 1, The Bullet Blondes. So, this episode picks up after the end of season 6, with the day after the Zaguran invasion, which is busy for the sheriff's department as Odessa's residents come in to complain about all sorts of unexplained instances. And on the other side of town, the Legends walk amongst the Wave Riders' remains, unsure what has just happened. The only thing they know for sure is they need to enact revenge on the Wave Rider which destroyed their original one, and they go to Spooner's house and arm themselves with everything they can get their hands on, whatever evil is lurking on the rogue ship. With the courier in hand, they take a stance and turn it on, only for the courier to run out of battery power. Taking the lead, newlyweds and co-captains Ava and Sarah start to strategize, with Sarah thinking of ways to get back and Ava reminding them of the dangers of leaving a huge footprint in the past. Before they can go further, a knock on the door interrupts them. Spooner answers to meet a man named Pastor Hansen, raising concern about the loud explosion he heard, along with the other strange occurrences from the town. Spooner closes the door on the pastor and makes it back inside to a stressed Ava. The Legends lay out their worries, with Nate insisting that John Constantine would have been very helpful in this situation if he was here. Astra butts in and reminds the team that she was his apprentice, and while she is not a master, she has an idea. Gary reminisces about the old Time Bureau ships that came with a failsafe, which reminds Ava that when the Wave Rider was in Bureau hands, she installed a failsafe with a courier inside. With a clear goal, the Legends head off to search for the box in hopes of repairing the wrecked Wave Rider. Bira tries to connect with her sister, comforting her over the breakup with John Constantine. Zari is annoyed at John for not only leaving her but giving her a mysterious key. The strong-willed Zari is not letting the breakup ruin her, as she sees this as an opportunity to once again reinvent herself. Meanwhile, Ava is frustrated that she has to spend her honeymoon without a Wave Rider, but her wife calms her down by assuring her that once they find the fail-safe, they'll be back to normal in no time. Spooner is finding it impossible to look for the box since her skills are more people and animal based, while Astra gets an idea. She conjures a tracking spell and follows it to the box's location, learning that he has been moved. They both learn that the box is in the sheriff's office. They make it back to the team and inform everyone that the box is in the sheriff's station and was dropped off by the pastor. This worries the team because it will draw more unwanted attention to Spooner's mum Gloria and the timeline itself. While figuring out what to do, Ava remembers Rule 44 of the Time Bureau training. If things go sideways, create a cover story, specifically a circus. Nate thinks this means they need to put on a circus, but Ava clarifies that they simply need to provide the story of a circus. This inspires Zari to use her other superpowers, fashion and design, to circusize all of the Legends into disguises, while Spooner and Astra fix up the porch and Nate and Ava get the box back. With everyone's roles in hand, the legends make their way through the town, boasting about all the strange things that have been going on have merely been part of their circus act. All is well until a little girl asks Gary when the show is actually happening. Panicking, Gary tells her that the show is tonight, forcing the legends to get the circus ready much quicker than they had hoped. At the station, Neva and Nate take on the roles of J. Edgar Hoover and his assistants, hoping the sheriff will accept the lie and just hand them the box. While he had his suspicions at first, Nate and Ava gleefully make it back with the box in hand, only to learn of Gary's mess. They push it aside as they have access to a way home, or so they thought. Inside the box is an IOU from Mick and a Time Bureau handbook. As all hope is lost again, the sheriff starts catching on and learns that Nate is not Hoover at all. He makes a call into the Bureau of Investigations, informing them of the fraud. Shortly after, the real Hoover shows up at the station and assumes that Nate is a member of the Midland Gang, a group of bank robbers that he's been chasing for quite some time. Back at Spooner's house, the legends try to accept they are marooned, with Astra showing frustration over the circus that's going through, seeing it as useless. Sarah assures her that they will deal with one problem at a time and rounds the legends up to practice their acts, but Astra shies away from them, heading back. Spooner grows concerned over the circus plan as she is worried that Gloria might pay the price if their plans fail. In response, Sarah instantly shuts down the circus, believing it will be for the best. At the back of the house, Astra stands among the rubble of the Wave Rider and casts a resurrection spell, hoping to fix the ship. Unfortunately, the ship takes a massive toll, which leads her to blackout before it is complete and causes the ship to explode once again. This explosion gets Hoover's attention, who rushes over to Spooner's, hoping to find the gang. Astra wakes up in bed, weak and dishevelled from the attempt to a disappointed Spooner by her side. Spooner berates Astra for bringing more attention to the house, but Astra brushes it off, believing no one heard anything, until a knock on the main door interrupts her. The legends learn of the real Hoover's arrival and panic, choosing to hide in the room with Astra while Spooner and Gloria deal with the situation. Gary tries the closet door but finds it locked, which gets Burad thinking that maybe John's key can open it. With no other options, Zara uses the key and opens the door to find a brick hallway. Confused but having no time to waste, the team rushes inside just as Hoover enters the room to only find Astra still sick in bed. The team walk further into the hallway and find themselves in John's mansion of all places. However, Gary reveals they are in a pocket dimension that John made for himself outside of time and space and completely private, where he could be alone. The key's purpose angers Zari as she is unsure why John would give her something like this. Through comforting words, Birad lets his sister know that John loved her and probably wanted her to have a place away from the spotlight. In the main world, Hoover leaves the house after not finding what he needs but decides to search the rest of the property. The team regroups and lays out their next plans just as Ava walks in with a great idea. Head to New York City and meets with Dr. Gwyn Davis, a scientist who laid out the foundation of all of time travel. Now, Dr. Gwyn Davis is going to be played by Matt Ryan, so even though John Constantine is gone, Matt Ryan will be returning as a brand new character at some point in season 7, so that should be quite interesting. With Davis' help, the team should make it back to 2021, but until then, they still have Hoover to deal with. Nate informs them that Hoover will not leave him alone until he gets what he wants, so Sarah suggests they actually become bank robbers and lead Hoover away from Gloria. This plan pushes Ava to her breaking point as she worries about all the things that could go wrong. Once again, Sarah comforts her by telling her to make an IO list of times so that they can travel again and they can go back and fix everything. Before they can leave, Hoover makes his way back to the door, which gives Sarah an idea. Hoover rushes into the home to find Spooner and Gloria tied up, placing the blame on the gang and giving Legends the chance to escape. The Legends roll to a bank with Sarah and Ava handling the robbery. Nate and Birad dealing with crowd control outside, and Gary stuck as the getaway driver. Sarah and Ava masterfully steal the guns for the bank patrons and holding them, demanding $93.65 million, the exact amount they need to get to New York. Outside, a woman tries to enter the bank but is stopped by Nate, who attempts to shoo her away, but she catches on that this is a robbery and gets curious. Nate reveals they are the Midland Gang, which excites them as she admires them. But upon looking inside and seeing two blonde women, she becomes skeptical because she knows the Midland Gang is all men. This forces them to come up with a new name, the Bullet Blondes. With that, The Bullets blondes mousey on down the road, proud of their winnings. They are greeted by a roadblock set up by Hoover, demanding that they step out. Sarah gets Nate to take the wheel and gun it forward, stealing up to avoid getting shot. They make it past the roadblock only to find Hoover riding on top of the car. Nate makes a false stop, sending Hoover flying through the air and onto the ground. The legends get out believing they've killed him, only to discover that he's still alive and points a gun at Nate. With no time to think, Nate steals up, sending the bullet ricocheting back into Hoover's head and killing him. Yuck. As the team starts to panic, Ava uses her knowledge of murder podcasts to think of her next steps, starting with getting rid of the body. Luckily, they have human eating alien Gary to help with that, and Gary, in his alien form, eats the body. Ugh. On Spooner's farm, Astra has recovered and is helping with the gardening until Gloria comes up and helps Astra deal with her failure. Astra feels like she let John down because she cannot do magic as well as he does. Gloria tells Astra to do magic her way and find her own strength. Astra apologizes to Spooner for how she acted, letting her know that she wanted to prove herself worthy of replacing John. Spooner reassures her, "We don't need John, we need you." Spooner relays her mother's sentiments, telling her that we don't need another John. She even calls Astra her best friend, something Astra has never heard before. The two of them sit on a piece of the Wave Rider and wish Gideon could be here. And then, in a shocking moment, we see an energy take shape and we see Gideon in a human form. And that's how episode 1 ends, and that wraps up my review. Overall, this episode had its ups and downs, but by and large, I thought this was okay. Not the greatest, still had some silly moments, but by and large, I thought this was okay. Not the greatest, but the ending where we see Gideon in her human form is quite an interesting twist. I mean, we've seen this a couple of times in the past, in dream sequences or as figments of someone's imagination or hallucination. We've seen things like this before, so it looks like we could see Gideon in her human form take on a more semi-permanent role for this season anyway, for at least a couple of episodes. So this should be quite interesting, and I'm curious to know how this is going to play out in the next couple of episodes. So that's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap this up now. What did you think of the season premiere of Legends of Tomorrow Season 7? Did you enjoy it? What is your thoughts on Gideon appearing in her human form? What kind of role do you think she will play? And also, with the Legends accidentally killing Hoover, how will this affect the timeline? How do you think the Legends are going to get out of 1925, especially as they don't have a Wave Rider and it's been completely destroyed? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Legends of Tomorrow Season 7 review series, where I am going to be talking about Episode 2, which I'm kind of interested to see how it's going to play out, especially with the way this episode ended. So hopefully the next episode will deliver. So until next time, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, thanks for listening.